Well, we are live. Hello, folks. Hello, Lizzy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Joe. How are you this
I'm doing.
morning?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Here we are in the middle of the holiday environment between Christmas and New Year's coming. In fact, before I forget, anybody who's watching us, I certainly, and I'm sure Lizzy does also, wish you and your family and your business a healthy and prosperous New Year.
Yes, it's been an epic year, but we made it.
Yeah,
We
that's
made it.
true. It's been a struggle, and we might even talk about that perhaps in terms of not today, but in terms of fulfillment and mindfulness. You just introduced a topic concept, how to deal with challenges. In fact, I'm assuming everything you talk about is how to deal with challenges, but I got to write this down.
Mhm.
As I say, folks, this stuff is not intuitive for me, so I have to work hard at it. And a reminder that the people who know Lizzy and what I know of her, she is good at what she does. And first off, let me backtrack a soundbite. This guy called A.B. Gabor, I have no idea who he is, but he's wishing us a happy new year. Would that happen to be a relationship of any matter?
He happens to be my partner in crime in life.
Fair enough. Thank you, AB, or Abe. Thank you for hollering out. We appreciate that. A reminder for those commercial side of this, you can access us either during the live stream or the replay stream through Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. If you do it through YouTube, you must sign in through your Google account if you want to make comment to us. I've heard there's been some difficulty at times. If that's the case, please contact us through the other avenues, Facebook or LinkedIn, and let us know. We'll try to work that through. So I think actually on this one, Lizzy, I might have actually figured this quote out that I'm going to share with the group. So, well, don't clap too soon here. Gee, she says, folks, I need your help. She's always trying to suck me into this stuff. She's very seductive in that manner. So, anyway, having said that, I'm going to show the quote. And basically, it says when you're feeling frazzled, put all your attention on the breath. Now, I'm going to stop just at that first sentence because I want to keep it simple. So I wrote this down because I felt so proud about it. Because I say, maybe I nailed it this time, but Lizzie's going to instruct me on this. So my phrase is scream and shout, yield the need to holler out. So is that what that sentence is saying of sorts? And then we'll go on to the next one. Could you share some comments on that?
The scream and shout part. I know. I think it's more. It's more of take a deep breath.
Oh, gee. See, already, I'm not even close to this.
I mean, I don't oppose to screaming and shouting. But I just think that the breath is. I mean, it's just can be such an anchor. It's an
Well,
anchor.
well, let me ask you this. You said take a deep breath. Well, I can't scream and shout unless I take a deep breath, so I'm already halfway there, right?
That is true. That is true. We always speak and scream on the exhale, right? Not when we're inhaling. Um, but yeah, I just think of it as like it's just we come into life breathing and that's how we leave and that's how we leave life. And so and along the way, it's just a way to again, if when we can take control of our breath. That was like such a profound learning for me. That was something I was never taught in
Okay.
school, in social work school, in graduate school. Just about that, when we can control our breath and work with it, it's so life changing. It's so
Okay,
life
well,
altering.
I hear that. Control our breath. One time when I was a kid, and my mother wanted me to eat vegetables for dinner. And I don't like vegetables. I do now somewhat, but not certainly not then. And I didn't want to. Now, I was the oldest of three children, her only son, firstborn. So in my world, I had full control of the moment. And what I told her was, you talk about control your breath. I told her, we were in the kitchen, I will not eat my vegetables as my final statement. And if you insisted one more time, I will hold my breath until, now I will hold my breath, that's control, until I die. I will just pass out and die. She says, okay, go ahead. So I don't see how that gave me anything about controlling my breath. Could you help me out on this?
Yeah, no, that's the opposite. But that is true. I remember doing that as well. I definitely was very good at that until my face turned red.
Yeah. And I carefully watched her for signs of yielding, and she did not blink an eyelid. I don't know how she got away with that.
Yeah, because she knew that your body is smarter than you were. Because the body will know that it needs to take another breath.
Well, then who's in control here? Me or my body? See, I'm confused all over again.
Well, that's the thing. That's the dance, because I think that if our bodies breathe automatically, I like to think that I'm being breathed. So because I'm not really doing it. And if we had to remember to take the next breath and the next breath, we would all be goners, yeah. Right?
I was afraid to go to sleep as a kid because I realized I didn't have control over my breathing then. So help me out.
That's the thing, because it's an automatic system. But then again, when I learned that it's also something that we can control, and when we control it, it can completely take us into the present moment. Mindfulness, okay. Right?
I'm with you so far.
and it can also, what it also does is when we control and when we slow it down and we take deep breaths, because most of us breathe from like here up. Okay. We're shallow breathing. We're not using all of the oxygen. But when we actually take a deep breath and we breathe into our belly, into our rib cage, we are activating. I'm sure you know, as the doctor that you are, that we activate.
Don't use any tools here to slide over on me, folks. I need your help. Please sign in and help me out on this. I'm sorry for interrupting, Lizzy. Go ahead.
No worries. But there is something in our body called the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in our body. And when we activate it, which is what we do when we breathe deeply, it activates our relaxation response. So that calms everything down. So when we're frazzled and we're in that stress response and we're breathing up here, when we can take a deep breath, we can activate that relaxation response. And then we can really quiet that frazzle or whatever it is that's taking us really into that spiral of crazy a lot of times.
All right, I hear that. And so let me go back to share screen again. And we'll click this. And we'll go to the second part of this. So it says, it's a portal into the present moment, the best remedy for stress. So it's a portal into the present moment. I see, I'm lost. Because I get the impression if you deep breathe and focus on that, then you're kind of ignoring the present moment of stress. So I'm confused.
You're actually entering the present moment of stress, because if you're conscious and if you're really present in the now, in this moment, all the negativity and stress will really dissolve. And it doesn't matter. It's like staying in the eye of the hurricane. You're in the, you can, whatever's swirling around you, you can be grounded into the present moment and dissolve really any stress. And I've done it. It works for me. It works for me, for sure. If I just consciously stop and be and just breathe. It's anything can be happening around me, and I can be okay.
Now, could you? I should magnify this again. You talked about in Just Deep Breathe. Is there a sequence of steps you deliberately take to make this happen in a conscious manner? Yes,
sure. There's many different ones, but I mean, one of the things that I teach with the yoga, it's just about taking that deep breath, almost like a 3-part breath, like breathing in, expanding your belly, then expanding your rib cage, expanding your clavicles. So it's kind of really just moving the breath open, expand. It's an expansion, expanding your whole body. And then as you release the breath, you just feel this like kind of weightlessness, if that makes sense. It's like clearing out the stuff. It's like giving yourself a windshield wipe. or closing down all the windows on your computer, say.
Okay. So it sounds like it's kind of a deliberate, mechanical, step-by-step process that you go through to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, but it's as easy as just taking a couple deep breaths. There's also many other techniques. I mean, I teach one called 16 seconds to bliss or 16 seconds to calm, depending on my audience.
Right.
And so where you're just breathing in for a count of 4, holding the breath for a count of 4, releasing the breath for a count of 4, and then holding it out. And actually that's a breath that's taught to first responders, all over the country, because before they enter into, like, say, a situation or a burning building, to really, because our mind doesn't think well when it's in stress mode. The neurons don't fire well. So in order to make the best decisions, you need to be in a place of calm.
Right. Well, I hear that. Excuse me for laughing. A thought comes to mind. I like cats, and then I had this one particular cat that was an absolute terror for jumping up on tables. And if we don't have food up there, fine. We're not preparing. But in the kitchen, the rule was never ever do you jump on tables. Not the table that we're working on, not the dining room table that we're going to eat on, but she would love to make the jump. Now, I learned that you don't ever use paper or objects to discipline cats. They have hollow bones and you'd risk for hurting them. But get a water gun. Get a water gun, squirt them. They hate that water zipping them in the face syndrome. So one day, and the cat's name was Donna, and I'm in the kitchen, and she smelled the food on the tabletop, and she clearly showed all the signs she was going to jump. So I looked at her. She's down on the ground. I'm standing above her, 10,000 feet tall, and I use my most baritone voice. Do not jump on this table. But what she did, she looked to see if I was packing. Like, do I have the water gun? She didn't see the water because she looked deliberately. She didn't see it. She took a deep breath and said, let's get it on, and jumped up on the table. So I don't know if it always results in good results or not, but you got any comments on that one?
She's very smart, first of all. Very smart cat. And I've had dogs that are equally as smart. And it's so funny that you bring that up, because my new puppy is a barker when somebody comes to the house.
Okay.
And people have said to have a water bottle, and I just can't bring myself. But I did take water out of my water, and I just kind of flicked it at her once, and she was like, oh. So yeah, they will push you, those animals, and I love it.
Well, so you say take a deep breath to get good results. Certainly from her perspective, she thought she was going to get good results. It didn't work for me. So I'm kind of intrigued by the processing of it. Is it? Let me ask this differently. Is it which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the breathing that creates the moment, or is it the moment you have to get in your head to do the breathing? I'm assuming it doesn't happen automatically, so I guess there's got to be a little switch you turn on and make that happen.
I mean, I think it becomes automatic, and the more that you practice it, because you just know that it works, that it can ground you. So I'm constantly during the day taking deep breaths or doing breath work, whether it's the 16 seconds or just really slowly breathing. I do it a lot because I just feel like it's just coming back into the moment. And we got to remember, because again, our minds are going to take us out. Our minds are like going to take us into that, not out of the moment, and not really enjoying, like we've talked about, this moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment, which is where anything else ever happening is right now.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to go a little bit medical on you, because you mentioned my medical background. I have read, and I do believe, you mentioned this particular nerve, the vagus nerve, and it doesn't matter the name of it, but it works. Most of us, when we get stressed, the blood pressure goes up, the pulse goes up, we get red in the face, a lot of things happen. And when you take deep breaths, it does allow you to drop your blood pressure.
Yes.
It does allow you to have a better overall lifestyle. And I've read, and I believe it, that if people who have high blood pressure of any type is not healthy, we know that. And certainly if you want to help your medication you're on, from Lizzy's perspective, take those deep breaths, because it's been shown, at least by some studies, if you do it consistently, repeatedly, you will drop your blood pressure also. So you have a much healthier lifestyle, less risk of strokes and heart attacks. So folks, you might want to record this moment. This will likely be the last time I will ever agree with Lizzy on anything about this mindfulness stuff. But I had to toss it in there because it kind of grabbed me in that manner. Any comments on that, Lizzy?
It's absolutely so true. I know people that have been taken off medication for different things such as blood pressure and hypertension risk by learning these mindfulness and meditation techniques of just breathing. Just the breath work alone has really been shown. So yeah, it's worth it, and it's a way of just fully embodying being a human being, not a human doing.
Okay, so seemingly she's caught me in a weak moment. I kind of agreed with her. I'm not yet admitting to that on this particular session, so I'm qualifying all of that. Before we sign off, I'm going to again to remind you that please, if you look at this even on the replay side, share your comments with us. I really do need help on this because she is a smooth operator. Anyway, that being said, we're a little bit at the 15th minute. Do you want to close us out with anything, Lizzy?
I would just say, it's just come home to yourself. Take this 2021, rise up in 2021, make it be your best year yet by, again, coming home to yourself and coming back to yourself as often as you can, because that's the way you're going to show up best for your family and your friends and your work and your life.
Thank you. And again, we wish you a healthy and prosperous new year. Thank you very much for joining us, and please share your comments. Spread the word, by the way. If you like what we do, you don't necessarily have to write it down or link it, but share it with your people. We're going to end out this one time, and next time we'll talk to you guys next year.
Oh.